Hi, my name is Dr. Padilla. I'm a professor in computer science and psychology, and I have been a faculty member for over 5 years. Today, I wanted to talk about my 6 tips for surviving graduate school. This comes from the perspective of a professor like myself and also someone who finished their PhD within the last 10 years. There's lots of excellent content from PhD students giving advice to other PhD students, but I thought it would be very useful to get advice from someone who made it all the way to a faculty member position and who has seen many students who have been successful and less successful to give you a well-rounded perspective on this topic. My number one tip for surviving graduate school is really considering building a community. Community is truly everything. The people who you are surrounded by will make or break your PhD experience. So this is everything from the people that you decide to go work with, the individual advisor you decide to work with, but also the support group that you build around yourself. This might mean that you really like everyone in your lab and you become close friends with them. Or it might mean that you seek out people in other labs that you really relate to that can build a support structure around you. So I find that students are more successful, and certainly I was more successful, when I actively sought out individuals that I felt like I could be a community with. And this isn't necessarily going to be built in to the system. Oftentimes you might have to go find those people that you truly feel comfortable with. When you start to have that comfort and that community, you will really have a support system that will help you throughout the whole PhD process. My second tip for surviving graduate school is related to the previous one, and it's that you need more than one advisor. You might think that you're going into a program and you have your PhD advisor and they're going to help you with everything. The truth is that they are not equipped to help you with everything. They might know a certain aspect of your research, and your research might be turning in a different direction. So you might need another advisor for that. But in addition to just research advice, you're also going to need an advisor that will help you be successful in the program. Now, that is not necessarily your PhD advisor, in part because your PhD advisor has conflict of interests. They have some things that they want you to do in part for their own success that might not necessarily be in line with your own success. So having an additional advisor that can help you navigate the intricacies of academia can be very useful. That might be someone in the program, a professor, it might be someone in another program at the same university, it might be someone that you had met previously at your prior institutions. But in any case, you should think about building an advising team. Another type of advisor that you might consider is a cultural advisor. Sometimes you might be coming from a different country and you might not be understanding the cultural norms. Sometimes you might just have no experience in academia whatsoever, and you just need someone to help you understand the nuances of working and communicating in this kind of new culture of academia. I found that to be the case for myself, and I serve as a cultural advisor for many students as well. Oftentimes they're afraid to ask their PhD advisor what they would think would be silly questions, even if it's just simple stuff like, when is it appropriate to email my advisor? Is this question reasonable for them? And that's something where you could have a cultural advisor who might be able to guide you in what is appropriate in this cultural academic setting, even if it is in the same country that you have originated from. My third piece of advice for surviving your PhD is to really get a handle on your finances. As I'm sure you're probably aware, you are going to be very strapped for money in your PhD program. That is an unfortunate reality of the system, but there's things you can do to supplement your income and really take advantage of all of the opportunities available to you. At most institutions, there's various small grants that you can apply for. These particular grants will give you a few $1,000s for various projects. They'll give you some money to travel. They're going to give you small pots of money that can really help. Absolutely apply for all of those. Every single little piece of money that you can apply for it. And it might seem like small peanuts, but it will add up. And when you start to get those smaller pieces of money on your CV, then you'll be more qualified for those bigger chunks of money, and that will make a huge difference. Things like large-scale national grants, you'll be more competitive for those. So absolutely consider applying to get these individual small pots of money. Some other things you might consider is using your summertime to make some additional money as well. So you can be doing your PhD work as well as taking on an internship that is in line with your PhD work, and that will supplement some of your funds as well. So truly what I find is the most successful students are the ones who are constantly applying and seeking new funding sources that can supplement their fairly low salaries, but those that are in line with their career goals. What tends to be less successful is when a student takes on a secondary job as a bartender or waitress, etc. Those really distract from your PhD trajectory. Sure, you might need that additional income, but at the cost potentially of a future career. So if you can find opportunities, research experiences that you can get extra money to supplement your salary, that is a winning key to success. My fourth tip for surviving a PhD is to get a handle on your work-life balance as early as possible. As you may have heard on forums and anytime people are struggling with PhD life, it's often because it's a very challenging work-life balance where their research just takes up all of their time and they're really suffering in terms of mental health. So as soon as you can, if you can find a balance where doing high quality work is sustainable, you absolutely need to do that. Now, I don't know what the secret for that is for you. I'm happy to make videos in the future about work-life balance, but I think part of the things that you need to consider is finding things outside of academia that fuel you, that make you excited and refreshed, that help you recover from pretty hard weeks. That might be an exciting hobby, that might be traveling a little bit, that might be exercising, going outside, maybe just being around in nature. Whatever it is for you, you need to prioritize that because you will need to make this type of intense workload sustainable for you. So whatever that means for you, consider developing a work-life balance strategy that you can maintain over your PhD career. And that means by the time you finish your PhD, you're not going to be exhausted. You're going to be able to continue this amazing work-life balance that you've created and really skyrocket to the next phase of your career. My fifth tip for surviving graduate school is to lean on student resources. It's often an underutilized part of academia that you have all of these resources available to you at a particular institution. And I'm talking about things like free or low-cost gym membership, free or low-cost counseling. My first counseling session was in graduate school when I realized that I could pay $10 for a counseling session, in part because it was a learning experience for other students. You can also likely take courses for free or discounted costs. Imagine taking a yoga class or a swimming class or a painting class, these things that can really invigorate you. So there's lots of things that universities offer that you don't get access to when you're outside of the university system. So definitely take advantage of all of those resources, in part because they won't be available to you in a few short years. And finally, my sixth tip for surviving graduate school is to consider giving back. Often, graduate school can be a very depleting activity where you feel like you're giving so much of yourself to this work and you're exhausted in some capacity. One really amazing way to reframe what you're doing is to consider giving back to the community or donating some of your time. And that can help you reflect on all of the amazing things that you're learning. So what can you do? You can volunteer in after-school activities. You can go to different high schools and give a workshop on some of your research. You can volunteer to teach in continuing education courses or even do that for money. All of these activities are a way for you to kind of mentally consolidate what you've done, all of the achievements that you've made, and then give them back to people to ensure that they can be more successful and happy as well. The students that I've seen do that have this invigorated sense of purpose in their program, and it really helps them understand or reflect on all of the things that they've learned. And it can be a very meaningful experience. Those are my 6 tips for surviving graduate school. There's a lot more to say on this topic, but those are truly the ones that I've seen result in the best performance for PhD students, and some of those have worked for me as well. Thank you so much for watching to the end. If you like this video, consider hitting the like button and subscribe for more content on professional development in academia. I find these videos very fun, so comment down below if there's a specific topic that you would like me to talk about in the future. Take care.